most leads aren't ready to transact right away. They're button pushers and form fillers, and they're 12 to 18 months out from making any sort of purchase decision. The best you can do is automate the touch points. When you have downtime or you're scheduling follow-up time in the morning, in Follow-Up Boss, we would have smart lists. So here are your 4 structured smart lists that you're going to follow up on. The first one might be any new leads.
Hello and welcome to /Real Estate, the podcast for agents that are crushing it with technology. We've got a good one for you today. Some of you guys out there might know our guest from various real estate industry stuff. And I guess this is also, kind of a announcement episode because our guest, Ricardo, is kind of joining the Real Geeks crew here. You are now officially our first brand ambassador, and you're going to be out there in the world, helping agents crush it with, real estate technology and Real Geeks. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
So for like the 3 people that don't know who you are, give the intro.
It's been a fun ride in the industry. You blink and suddenly a decade's gone by. So, I got started in the industry as a loan officer before the subprime market collapse. It's funny kind of how we ended up here, because if I think about early in my career got started building websites for real estate agents. Nice. So venturing on websites, playing with IDX, and one of the early ones to start talking about blogging and content strategy. So, and then, like I said, you blink and a decade goes by, but it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride in real estate, and I'm stoked to be here. And I think it's awesome to be getting back into the content game.
One of the reasons that we're really excited to have you is, Real Geeks obviously is awesome at the website CRM lead generation side. But, the questions that we're always getting from our agents is like, okay, but now what? Right?
Now what do I do?
And so, that's the conversation we want to have today, and probably the conversation that we're going to keep having over and over and over again. So talk to us about, when you're out there talking to agents and they're sensing the gaps, which is probably that, picking up the phone and feeling like you're drawing a blank, or having to write an email that's like, yeah, so I saw that you were interested in that property.
And then what?
Right? Help us out here, Ricardo. Where do we go?
Oh, man. First of all, having a good website is sort of step one. How do you present yourself? Do you look the part? I used to work for a company called Cloud CMA, and part of my opening pitch was the reason you need a polished CMA report, and the reason you need to invest time is you got to look the part, you got to dress the part, you got to talk the part. I feel like having a good website is entry level. You have to have a good website. You have to have a good digital presence. Because again, it's that first impression. So do you look the part? Are you knowledgeable? Are you providing resources and useful information? All of those things are sort of entry level. You got to have those things kind of sort of dialed in. But you can have all the website traffic in the world. You can generate all the leads you want. None of it matters if you're not following up effectively. And we say it all the time. We would say it all the time at Follow Boss. We would say it all the time. Anytime I meet with an agent, we're kind of going over their tech stack. We always think we have a lead problem. I just need better leads to convert them better. The reality is we probably have a follow-up problem. We think we're following up enough, but we're not. And I think that part right there, just the simple act of following up, is one of the biggest gaps in real estate marketing. We invest a lot of time in technology. We invest a lot of time in generating new leads, but we're not investing enough time in developing an effective follow-up process. And I think that's where we need to spend more of our time if we're going to be strategic about, how we run our business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
How do you tease out that someone's got a follow-up problem, not a leads problem? Because I think anyone that's worked with salespeople, I'm a marketing guy. I say this all the time on the podcast. I'm coming at this from a marketing perspective, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to give you more leads. but is that really the problem? And so how do you like, if you're sitting down with someone and they're like, I really want to sell more, and they're like, I think I need more leads. It's like, well, how do you solve for, like, actually what's the troubleshooting process to get to, it's not actually the leads. It's something in the middle.
So my brain always thinks, a friend of mine jokes, Ricardo doesn't have ADHD, he has ADD. And it's, for me, it's automate, delegate, and delete. Are you automating as much as you can within your business? Are you automating? Like, everything to me should be an automation. Somebody registers for on your home valuation page, great. What are you sending them? What are they getting? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody registers or signs into your digital open house, great. What are you sending them? What are they getting? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these things, all of these touch points should be automated. And you should have an automated follow-up touch point. So me, the first thing I do is sit down and look at the tech stack. Where are all of your entry points? And what are you automating and sending these people? The delegate function to me is, if you're a high producing agent, if you aspire to be a high producing agent, I think a lot of us want to assume we can do everything ourselves. We want to do everything ourselves because there's a level of perfection that goes into it. I'm telling you, it's a mistake to try to be Superman and try to do everything yourself.
It's like you were listening to every meeting I was in today.
I had my firstborn in 4.5 years ago. She's 4.5. I have a 4.5-year-old named Charlie and a 3-year-old named Benny. There was a slide I put in a presentation once, and it was, having kids will, time F your life. It will mess up your life.
Yeah.
But in all of the right ways. For me, what I learned is that I wanted to spend more time with family, which meant I needed to be more efficient about my days. So I got a virtual assistant, and I learned to let go and delegate. I create SOPs for everything. Here's a video overview of why we're going to do this. Here's the important business function that this has. Here's the step-by-step instructions on how to execute this task. The more you can automate in your business so that your potential customers have touch points, the better. The more you can delegate to have somebody cover we call it $5 an hour work and then $1,000 an hour work. If you're doing $5 an hour tasks, you're screwed. You're hurting yourself. You're limiting your growth potential. You need to be focused on doing $1,000 an hour work and then trust and delegate the $5 an hour work, because that's not highest and best use of your time. And then delete, the last D, delete everything in your life or everything in your business that doesn't serve you. And why are you wasting time doing, things that aren't growing the business?
Yeah, I want to go back to delegate here for a second and just add a little tidbit, because like I said, I've talked about this with multiple people multiple times today. And the thing that I would add to that is embrace the mistakes, right?
Oh,
because
100%.
That VA is going to make mistakes. Like
100%.
That new agent that you bring onto your team is going to make mistakes, and they're not going to get to your level without making them. Mm-hmm. So it might just like grind.
They got to put in the reps.
Yeah, it might grind on you to watch them, not be successful or not be as masterful as you are. But you got to remember, how did you get to that spot? And it was, like you said, the reps.
For me, it was a couple of things. Doing the Loom videos to make sure, and creating the SOPs was sort of my baseline. If they're following these instructions, I know that they're going to get as close to perfect as possible.
Tell people what Loom is, just in case they haven't.
Loom is a recording software. It allows me to record video and screen so that I can show the tasks that I'm doing on my computer. So it's almost as if they're standing over my shoulder and watching what I'm doing. Creating the SOPs was sort of step number one. I know that if they're watching these videos, that they're reading these tutorials, and then I'm suggesting, if you find a better way to do this, then create version 2 of this process and tell me why it's better. Having that is your baseline. And then for me, I quickly learned that indecisive, somebody said this the other day, what's the opposite of indecisiveness? What's the opposite of decisiveness? It's not indecisiveness, it's helplessness. So what that meant is you need to be more decisive about the decisions that you make in your business so that you can move faster, so that you can grow, et cetera, et cetera. Learning to let go and delegate that task to somebody else is you being decisive. Learn and then accepting that 80 done is better than perfect. They might screw it up and only get this 80% of the way done, but for me, if you set up that landing page and those drip campaigns and I got to, clean up just a few things here and there, that done is better than perfect. I don't need
Right.
perfect. I just need progress.
Right. No, this makes total sense. Because you want to have productive coaching conversations, right, with people where it's like, look, I saw what you did. Everything was good, but here's how we make it better. So yeah, no, I love what you were saying there. All right, delete. That's got to be hard for people. Let's go back to delete. What kind of things did you delete?
This is a tough one because we're talking about two different things here. I feel like I'm talking as Ricardo, the marketer, who has different things that he's doing as selling software to real estate agents. And I think about, you as the real estate agent who's sitting down, listening to this podcast and trying to get value out of it. It's just audit the things in your business, look at your tech stack. And for me, I forget what we used to say, but we used to look at your tools and we used to say, get everything that you can out of what you've got. Are you maximizing these tools to their full potential, or are you psyching yourself into thinking, well, I'll finally get around to using that? And, it's charging your card every month. Audit your tech stack and eliminate the stuff that isn't like serving your business. I did that in December. And then once every 6 months, once every year, I'll send an email to my database. This is the hard part. This is the hard one. This is the hard one. This is the hard one. I deleted about 2,000 subscribers from my database. Now, who in the right mind would do that?
Whoa. I know that.
Who in the right mind would do that?
I'm like, oh, why? Why would you do that, Ricardo?
You do it for open rate. You do it so it doesn't impact, your email deliverability. And so once every 6 months or once every year, I send an email to my database that says, open up. It'll say something funny like, open up, baby, good stuff inside. Or open up now or lose me forever. And it's, hey, Chris, you've been getting my email for the last 6 months, but you haven't opened any of them. Just want to make sure that you're still getting value, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the last 3 emails I've sent. If you still want to remain on this email list, just click the link below. Voila, you're good to go.
Right. So occasionally we have, I'll say to people like, okay, you need to rewind the podcast, hit that back 10-second button like 3 times, and this is also going to be the one of the social clips. But that's actually really smart for a couple of reasons. Like one, I think it's probably good life advice, but it's actually like specifically good email list hygiene to do. And if you're using an enterprise tool like HubSpot, they are going to force you into doing this.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, okay, everyone, like re-listen to what he just said and then go do that on your database, especially if you're using like your own little thing. And also, let's just add this in here as well. If you don't know the metrics on what's going on inside your database, that's another huge problem.
Oh, you should 100% know.
Yeah.
Like I know the open rates on my last 3 emails. I know the click rate whenever I send an email that has a link to it, listen to this podcast, register for this webinar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I started that as a practice, I don't know, a few years ago. And it hurts. Like, why would you delete leads from your database? But how many of those are bad email? How many of those are, whatever? I think, like you said, it's good list hygiene.
Right, exactly. Because, okay, we'll get into some nuts and bolts of how this works like downstream, right? So Google, Gmail, the like largest email client, looks at how often your emails are opened.
Yep.
And if that number is low, then your deliverability is affected.
Correct.
So if you were trying to optimize for like maximum deliverability, you would be pretty brutal about dropping people that didn't engage with your stuff. So
100%. So what I would do is, like, let's say we're sitting down, we're going over your database. You haven't sent anything to your database in a while, or whatever the case. But most of you haven't sent anything in a while, or you're sitting on a database of 2,000 IDX subscribers over the last however many years. Heck, some of you might have more. I would send them a re-engagement campaign. And that re-engagement campaign is probably like a 3-day campaign. And it's, regarding your property search. And it might say something like, hey, Chris, it's Ricardo with 123 Real Estate or ABC Real Estate. We know it's been some time since you inquired about buying a home, and, well, the market has changed since we last connected, and we want to make sure you're aware of what's going on. So if you're interested, we'd love to share some information about the current market and the best options for buyers given today's landscape. Feel free to give us a call, text, or email me back. We look forward to hearing from you. The next day, you might send them, hey, just checking in on your home search. Did you have any questions about the current market? We know we have some awesome new listings coming up that we think you'll love. If you're interested in seeing them, let me know. And then the last one is not yet ? And it might be like, hey, Chris, we realized a lot of people are mostly just researching about buying or selling a home in the future. In fact, a lot of our happiest clients started out that way. So we just want to reach out and let you know that we're here to answer any questions you may have, whether you're looking to buy in 2 months, 6 months, or 2 years. We're okay with that. So if you don't mind, email me back your story. We look forward to hearing from you. It's just a soft touch meant to kind of like re-engage them, maybe spark some activity. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, a lot of people are just dipping their toe in the water and they're not looking to buy until, 12 months, 24 months out.
Right. I feel like you laid that out so perfectly for people. The only thing that we could add on top would be like, what is the filtering criteria that you would use to put people on that automation?
Yep, exactly. So, and then the next part that I would do is what's your middle of the funnel engagement tool? Is it, a home bot because you're sending them home valuations or local market reports? Is it Real Scout, another amazing tool? You're regularly sending them, IDX alerts, local market reports, etc. Is it the market reports that are built into your Real Geeks website? Those are your middle of the funnel, and then you put them on a monthly newsletter. And then every 6 months, every year, you practice good real estate hygiene. Open up, baby. Good stuff inside.
So I think we should rewind a little bit. And, we were talking about the ADD, automate, delegate, delete. I'm going to start using this. And so we're talking about automation, right? And you already talked about like, okay, this is the intro automation. But, what other areas are just prime for automation that people should start investigating?
I would, like I said, look at all of your customer touch points. Every opportunity you have to capture someone's email and send them an email. I forget, I used to have this stat in one of my presentations, but it was like 80% of sales require at least 5 follow-ups. And yet 44% of agents give up after just one. It's like, we chalk it up to, it was just a bad lead.
Yeah.
So if you're treating your website like a lead magnet, great, treat your website like a lead magnet, but then what? What happens?
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt your train of thought here,
Sure.
But yeah, I'm feeling triggered right now. Being at Real Geeks, like we have so much data on what is happening with thousands of agents that are getting online leads, right? And there is absolutely a difference between a paid search lead, an organic lead, or a Zillow
100%.
lead, right? And that what you just said about like a lot of agents will, try, 2 or 3 times and then give up. Well, the something like the median paid search lead is like 12 months out. It's something like that. Now you got to imagine the bell curve on that, right? So there's going to be some that are like a month away, and there's going to be some that are like 3 years away. Right. But like if you're not doing the due diligence and following up with that person, you're losing that lead to someone that is.
We call them button pushers and form fillers. So anybody who's registering on your website, you have to assume they didn't just register on your website. They probably registered on one of the portals, and then they registered on half a dozen other real estate websites.
Yeah.
So the assumption that, that's a bad lead, I just didn't get to them, or that's a bad lead, I should move on to the next, is sort of a false assumption. Speed to lead, I think, is obviously matters. So speed to lead is important, but your follow-up cadence and attempt, just remind yourself, you're competing with, half a dozen other agents. So what are you sending them that is useful, that positions you as somebody who is knowledgeable? And are you following up often enough that you're going to, get an opportunity? I think that's where we drop the ball, honestly, a lot.
When you think about this, so let's say, like, I'm trying to envision someone that hasn't been playing this game for a long time. Like, maybe they got a new Real Geeks website and they're like starting to get some paid search leads coming through. The market reports and the like the listing reports, or the search area reports are all going out. But we also need them to be making calls to these people. So what's this balance between like where you're picking up the phone or you're putting your hands on a keyboard versus letting the automation drive?
I think you should be following up as often. So, I think that IDX search is what keeps people coming back on your website. Yeah. Then you use lead capture forms to convert visitors into contacts. So you're going to have your home values, probably the biggest one on the seller side. You have local market reports. Maybe you have some community pages and some awesome community content. It's your CRM. Having a good CRM integration or built-in CRM and how you manage your CRM is going to be your, I don't even know what to call it. It's like your Bible for managing for making sure that no lead gets lost or no lead falls through the cracks. The thing that I would remind people is, leads are not going to chase you. You have to actively chase them. And most leads, like Chris said maybe 3 minutes ago, most leads aren't ready to transact right away. They're button pushers and form fillers, and they're 12 to 18 months out from making any sort of purchase decision. The best you can do is automate the touch points. When you have downtime or you're scheduling follow-up time in the morning, in Follow-Up Boss, we would have smart lists. So here are your 4 structured smart lists that you're going to follow up on. The first one might be any new leads. You want to make sure that you're contacting any new leads so that you're not missing any opportunities or any at-bats. You want to make sure that you're following up with all of your under contract leads because you want to give them an update even if there is no update today. And then you're following up with any leads that are kind of, they're lukewarm. Maybe they registered on your website 6 months ago, but they've revisited your website in the last couple of weeks or last couple of days, and you see them actively looking at properties. What that website behavior tells me stuff. Those are signals, right? If somebody registered, 12 months ago, they're back on your website looking at listings in a specific zip code, specific price range. That's a buying behavior.
Oh yeah.
So are you structuring your CRM so that you actively know who to engage, when to engage? Or is it just kind of like this gobbledygook of information that's in there and it stresses you out because you don't know where to start? I think that's the problem.
I want to hit on a couple of things here. Like, so you talked to Kevin McCarthy, the founder of Real Geeks, and that integration between the CRM and the website is like basically the founding principle. It's like, oh, if we have the information on what they're doing on the website, then we can more accurately predict what those buying behaviors are. So yeah, absolutely that. And again, like, sorry for jumping around here, but, like the other thing that I say is frequently, like, sometimes listening to people is maybe not as, useful to you as like reverse engineering, what they're doing. And so you mentioned landing pages, Ricardo, and I've actually always thought the landing pages that you produce are really good. So like back in the FubCon days and whatever else.
So it's funny you bring up the FubCon one because, yeah. So I'm running a couple of real estate events. There are a couple of 2-day events that are coming up. And for one of our events, we're talking about our hotel room block pickup. So we have 300 people who have bought tickets, but not 300 people that have, bought a hotel room or booked their hotel room. So there's a disconnect there. So like the way my brain thinks is I need to guide people where they need to go. So when you purchase a ticket for FubCon, we immediately hit you with the landing page that said, congratulations, you're confirmed. Here's why you should stay at the JW Marriott Hotel. And it has all the details about booking a stay, the benefits of booking a stay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then they'll get another follow-up email that says, we've curated not just come for the content, stay for the vibe. Here's why you should stay at the JW Marriott. We've also curated a list of restaurants and bars that you might be interested in visiting while you're in town. And so they start to get a drip campaign, not just reminder to book your hotel, but Here's some local activities that we've curated for you. Your drip campaigns need to effectively do the same thing. So again, when I think about all the entry points and where you're meeting people, like one of my favorite drip campaigns when somebody registers on your home valuation page is, hey, Chris, you've been getting my free monthly home valuation report. I imagine you looked at it and thought, well, wait, my home is worth way more than this. Well, here's what you need to know. Zillow and other platforms and worse, other real estate professionals are relying on tools like this to figure out your home's value as well. But for a home like yours, technology isn't enough. You need human expertise and storytelling to inspire people to see your home's value beyond the algorithm. If you'd like an expert human valuation of your home, reply to this email. We'll take care of the rest. The automation is what's sending that monthly touch point. And believe me, they're looking at it because everyone wants to know what their home is worth the way they want to know what their bank account balance looks like, what their investment accounts look like, what their stock price looks like.
It's a big part of your net worth.
It's a big part of your net worth. They want to know. The other part, you're just interjecting your expertise. Like, hey, right. I know you're getting this automated thing, but you need human expertise and storytelling. That's where I come in to inspire other people to see your home's value beyond the algorithm.
I think there's another point here that I think maybe we can go back to the FubCon example because, you talked about like, okay, so they've signed up for FubCon, for people that don't know, was an awesome, real estate, like 2-3 day real estate event in Las Vegas and LA. Somebody
said the Super Bowl of real estate conferences, and I totally wear that as a badge.
Not bragging or anything, but it's not entirely clear why you would then be sending restaurant recommendations, right? Like, what is the logical link between like, okay, so you bought the ticket, like a lot of marketers would be like, job done, I sold the ticket.
So that's the challenge we're having. It's like, okay, job done. And it's this assumption that they're going to do the next step, book their hotel, book it at the venue where they're booking it, et cetera. And I think the earlier comment that I made is the leads are not going to chase you, right? So for me, every piece of content, every piece of really anything needs to kind of walk them and handhold them and walk them through the experience that I need to walk them through. The goal for me is to get them to book the hotel in addition to having bought their ticket. And I need them to book at the hotel where the event is taking place because we're contracted and obligated to, have a certain guest count. So the reason we design those experiences is I can't just contact the same lead about the same thing, nonstop every hour on the hour. That's a good way to get blocked. Like, you're not going to send the same text message every day. You're going to get ignored. You can't send, you can send a follow-up email every day, sure, but are you delivering something different and something of value? For me, curating the local restaurants and experiences was something additional that was an item of value that gave me an excuse to hit their inbox. Yeah, I'm hitting their inbox about purchasing on the room block, but it was an additional item that was unexpected and an item of value. You got to think the same way with, the real estate emails that you're sending. Are you delivering items of value? Are you delivering helpful content? Those two sort of, what do I want to call these? If you're meeting those two requirements, then that's effectively giving you permission to hit their inbox again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a lot of times these podcasts turn out to be like awesome, just like mastermind events. So, as I'm listening to you talk about this and then kind of thinking back to, episodes that we've done with Bob McCraney, who's like a really good, he's a really good like organic marketing guy, owns a bunch of, a bunch of real estate websites that, anyway, I'm not going to give away his sauce. Again, just go reverse engineer what he's doing if you want to know. But he's really good at like kind of the guerrilla marketing stuff. And so like kind of putting these ideas together, it's like I'm picturing a nurture sequence that builds in the prospect's mind what it's like to live in that neighborhood that they're searching for. Right. So it's Correct. Not just like, oh, I like this house. Like it has the right number of bedrooms and bathrooms. Like that's great. But I think most marketers and salespeople would tell you that's not what's going to get people to enthusiastically sign on the line. It's It's the entire mental picture of what their life is going to be like and how it's going to be positively improved on the other side of that thing.
I think I followed my lender maybe for a year or little less than a year before we were ready to buy. And I had already made up my mind. If I ever buy a house, I'm using her. I'm using this lender. Because all of the content that she delivers is just, it's on the money. She talks about, what's happening on the economic calendar that's going to impact mortgage rates. She talks about the market. She talks about, she shares like epic case studies of challenging deals and how she's able to get them through the door, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything that she ever sent was educational and it was helpful. And it helped me envision what it would be like. So that when it came time for us to buy, I knew immediately she's knowledgeable, she's the best, I want to work with her. Like she had done all the necessary things to build that know, like, and trust factor with us anyway. So I don't know, kind of going back to, the problem with most follow-up systems, or, the thing that we get wrong is yeah, there's this missing gap. That missing gap is your follow-up process. I think what agents get wrong is, we call once or twice and then we stop. We rely too much on email. I think you still need to make the calls, or we rely not enough on email. You don't have a drip campaign sequence that you're putting people into. If I would look at the different funnels on your website, and you should have an aggressive, 7-day drip campaign in there before you move anyone to middle of the funnel. And a middle of the funnel system is going to be like your monthly market reports, your newsletter, et cetera, et cetera. And then I think another challenge is we all use the same generic follow-up. What can you do to personalize your follow-up? So one of our drip campaigns that we were proud of is we put somebody on anybody that came to the open house or that converted on a specific listing. We would run a lot of Facebook ads. It'd be like, hey, Chris, this is Ricardo, the agent that's listing 123 Main Street. It really is a great home, but I understand that great for one person may not be great for every person. So let me know if you'd like to look at a list of homes similar to 123 Main Street. I'd be happy to send that list over. Second email was, hey, Chris, maybe 123 Main Street isn't the right fit for you. Would you, in fact, could you tell me now, how many beds are you looking for? How many baths? Are there any specific features like a big backyard for those awesome summer barbecues? Do me a favor, just hit reply and let me know. And then the last one was not yet, question mark. Hey, Chris, I'll take your not responding as a sort of back off signal. I get it. Right now, it may not be the right time to buy for you, but whether you're looking to buy in 2 months, 6 months, or 2 years, my team and I are here to help. In the meantime, I'm going to send you some local market reports so that you can stay up to date with the monthly market or monthly changes to the market. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch.
I like that transition. Yeah.
That last one always got epic responses like, hey, not ignoring your calls. I'm just at work. Could you call me on my way home from 5 to 6? Or, we're waiting until our kid's done with school, blah, 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 blah. So what can you do to personalize them just a little bit? You have to remember these leads have a wall up. What can you do to break that wall down so that they're open to engaging you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I liked also, it's good to hear that that final email drove the engagement. But the other thing that I liked about it is, we have so many agents that tell us, oh, the long-term engagement, the IDX reports, all those like long-term, customized to the searcher, nurture emails really worked. And that when the person was ready to buy, they would say something like, yeah, I just really appreciated that after all those years of sending me the market updates that, you were just on it, and I guess it's kind of surprising that some people don't realize that that's automated.
That's all it takes too, though.
I think we have given quite a few actionable items from this podcast, and it's kind of perfect right now. So, I think we should wrap this up, but Ricardo, tell people where they can find you.
I have a website and weekly newsletter. You can find me over at ricardobueno.com. That'll link to all my social. If you guys want some scripts, I have a nice Google Drive. Just email me, let me know, send me the scripts, and I'll send those on over to you.
And we'll put a link to that down below as well. So you guys can go there, enter the information, and get access to Ricardo's scripts. So perfect. Guys, this has been excellent. /real estate. We've done the rebrand. It's excellent. We're very excited about it. Ricardo, like super happy to have you, on board helping us out.
Awesome.
Everyone, I hope you love this episode. Give your comments down below, right? So ask questions. We read all of the questions, like whether it happens on Facebook or YouTube or wherever else. I guess if you're on Apple Podcasts, you're going to have to like jump over to Instagram and leave us a DM over there, so you just follow us everywhere. But, hit us with your topic ideas, or if you've got guests you want us to cover, all of that stuff, because, we love making these things for you. So, Ricardo, thank you.
Awesome.